Hi everybody, Casey Zander here, and in today's video I'm going to be talking to you specifically about the mistakes you do not want to make in your 20s. And I actually condensed this down into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mistakes that I see men make time and time again. And these are some of the mistakes that luckily I didn't make, and it served me very well for not making them. Now, one of the things that I want you to constantly remember in your head as I speak to you today is I want you to remember this, okay? If you do what 99% of people do, you're going to get 99% of people's results. And most people don't have any results in life at all. Just keep that in mind. These things, if you can avoid them, and if you can do, if you can actually focus in on these things that I tell you to do, this is going to pay you dividends for years and years to come, and this is going to generate a massive ROI in your life. So with that said, let's dive in. The very first mistake that I see guys make time and time again is going to college or moving cities to date and to party. Okay, I want you just to think about this, and if you're watching this channel and you're anywhere from 16 to like 18 years old and you're seriously considering going to college, and a big motivating factor for you to that is like joining a fraternity and like getting really like hammered and trying to sleep with a bunch of like chicks and all that stuff, I'm gonna break this down for you because I almost made this mistake when I was moving to Arizona when I was about 20. I told myself I wanted to go there for business college. My dad freaked out, and if he would not have freaked out to the level that he did, I probably would have actually led with my emotion and my desires at that age and not woken up. And here's what I can tell you. The millions of dollars in sales that I have generated today in my personal brand, okay, I would have not been able to do had I taken on all of that debt and did that. It was massively impactful. The level of like, I mean, he was screaming bad, okay? So he needed me to wake up. And I'm gonna explain this. So if you're 16 to 18 right now, you're watching this and you're thinking, I wanna go to college, I wanna join a frat, I wanna go party, I wanna do all these things. Here's what you gotta remember. You are taking on a crap ton of debt. Like seriously, most guys, most people, most guys or girls, they don't know, seriously, they don't know what like $50,000 to $100,000 in student loan debt actually means. People don't know how to generate that amount of cash, and people don't understand the severe baggage you have to drag with you for the rest of your life. And I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. It's set up for you to drag around that baggage on purpose, okay? If you do that, you will massively pay the punishment for probably the next 10 to 20 years financially. That's number one when you think about this logistically. But here's what I want to tell you. Location doesn't make it easier. Oftentimes people will think, oh, if I leave my hometown, I'll find my dream girl. If I leave my hometown, I'll have abundance and I'll be able to generate a rotation of options. It just doesn't work that way. If you struggle attracting people where you currently live, make no mistake, you will struggle attracting people when you move cities and you move locations. What I was about to do was move to Arizona, which was ASU, a big party town, and I did live there for over a year, and that's when I started my first brand, CZ Fitness. But had my dad not have been so intense about that, about me not doing it, because my dad's a businessman by trade too, him not hammering that into me, how absolutely stupid it was, because he knew the real reason I was going. He's like, you can make a business here, right? You can grow a business here. You can do these things here. You don't need to go blow all that money with these professors who don't have a business in the first place, and you think that you're gonna be successful like that. Come on now. He knew exactly why, and probably every father does know why to some degree. And I think that's what good parenting stems down to, is you gotta know when to drop the hammer, you gotta know when to be soft, okay? There's a fine balance. So that's just number one, okay? I know I rambled on that for 4 to 5 minutes here, but it's super important. That one thing in your 20s, if you do that, the juice ain't worth the squeeze, okay? And if you look at the weight people put on during college, if you look at the health, like people don't look very good after their freshman year. They put on 20, 30 pounds from drinking. It's just the truth. That's number one, okay? Number two, the second mistake to not make in your 20s is not understanding that you are serviceable. Okay, what does that mean? Serviceable. Serviceable means that you're able. Serviceable means that you're full of energy. Serviceable means that you're full of ambition and you're full of grit. And I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. For those of you who are entrepreneurial driven, or for those of you who want to make millions of dollars, the best way to do it is by understanding that you're serviceable in your 20s, and that to be serviceable typically doesn't take any overhead. Think about that for a second. People think, oh, I can't build a business because I'll need hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars in startup product. Absolutely false. My first year in business when I did CZ Fitness, I was selling workout programs, okay? And those workout programs that I was selling, there was no cost of overhead. I paid $200 a year for my website, and I had my product page, and they would check out, and then I would make their plans. And because I was serviceable, I was servicing them. It was a service type business. Same thing, let's use this at a more basic level. Let's say you're 13 years old, okay, and you wanna make money in a business. All you have to do is buy a shovel, that shovel that costs you $50 at Menards or Home Depot. That $50 shovel you can now use for thousands of dollars worth of business, okay? You buy it once, you're serviceable. Since you're serviceable because you're young, you can make money, okay? Guys in their 20s don't understand that they're serviceable, okay? And especially this applies to business. I'm gonna tell you this, as you get older, it's harder to keep going, and it's harder to have motivation, and it's harder to keep diving deeper. So I'll give you an example. Right now at 26, and I wrote this down on my paper, right now at 26, I have far less energy than I did at 2021, like far less. It's harder to just keep driving so hard, and it's harder to just keep going, and it's harder to keep taking on all that stress. And that's why, like, when you get older, like, thank God I've done the work in my youth to develop skills, understand sales, understand business, understand how to get ahead, because the fact is, like, since I don't have as much energy, I need that wisdom so I can still make power plays and make moves in my own life and in business and with anything, and I don't have to work so hard. So, like, when I was younger, to generate an amount of money took so much man hours and grit. Now, since I understand stuff, and that comes with age and comes with wisdom, I can do it quicker at a much easier pace, but it's because I've done the work in my youth, okay? When you're young, you have energy, okay? Use that energy to acquire skills, so that way when you're older and you don't have energy, what you do have is wisdom, okay? And wisdom lasts a lifetime, even with age. I really want to make that a clear point. In your 20s, you're serviceable, which means do service to people and you'll get paid for it. That's really the meat and beans or meat and potatoes of it. Number 3, not learning how to get your fitness under control. So what I can tell you is, like, this might sound arrogant, but it's the fact, and I have tons of pictures to prove it. Like, I've had a six-pack every year for the past 7 years, every day of my life since I was 19. Well, how did I have a six-pack? It's not because, like, the training was anything insane, or like the diet's anything insane. Like yesterday I was eating like some fruit snacks and even ice cream before bed. But it's because I understand nutrition and I understand how calories work with my body. And because of that, I got my fitness under control at a young age. And at a young age, that fitness has lasted me a lifetime because I know what to do. People who don't get their fitness under control in their 20s, you're gonna see they start to put on weight in college. They don't know how to get the weight off in their later 20s. They put on even more weight in their 30s, and then they're dealing with high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, things of that nature. I mean, that's just the cold hard fact. So getting your fitness under control to begin with, like making that a priority, and not doing what society tells you is a priority. You're gonna hear that priorities is like go to college, then you gotta get a job, then you gotta start your family. It's like, no, like you gotta look at actually what matters in life. The first is your health. If you don't have your health under control, like you don't have anything. It's very hard to generate wealth or find a good relationship or anything like that if you're sick and if you're unattractive the way you feel and all of that. So like make sure your fitness is under control. Make sure you learn how to structure gym activity. Make sure you learn how to actually do these things to change your body composition. I can't stress that enough. That one thing alone probably is more important to where I got in business today than probably anything, because a strong mind carries a strong body and a strong body carries a strong mind. There's really no way around that one. Number 4, ignoring social development, okay? People ignore social development when they're so focused on work and they're so focused on their purpose. And you're gonna hear this from a lot of people. You're gonna hear people tell you like, you know, in your 20s, all you got to do is put your head down and work 5 times harder than anybody, or you don't have it. You don't deserve to go out and party ever because you haven't made anything of yourself yet. You're going to hear stuff like that, okay? I think that that's BS, and here's why. If you ignore social development, and I see this even, guys, like I have this program, it's called 10 Game, right? You can click the link and check it out below. But like I even have guys in 10 Game where I teach them like how to grow a YouTube channel. I teach them how to actually get leads. I teach them how to sell a product. I teach them how to do all these things without any overhead and without any startup money. So that way they can be on track to 6 and 7-figure years without acquiring a lot of costs. I teach this. I see guys all the time, they're so focused on their purpose, they're so work driven, but they're hardened. And it affects their sales. It affects how they show up on camera. It affects their friendships. And because of that, they actually make less money in the long run. The years that I spent developing my social skills, once again, paid me dividends for years to come, because those friendships I made, that ability to interact, the ability to speak fluently, like notice something right now, I'm going on 11.5 minutes on camera, I haven't stuttered once. My editor doesn't have to do any editing, okay? I'm fluidly speaking. I can read, I can write, I can speak fluidly. This is a skill. Like, I can't stress that enough. You have to develop that, because that's what confidence is. Being able to speak and being able to do things appropriately. If you ignore your social development, dude, it's going to hinder your friendships. It's going to hinder the amount of money you make. And it's going to hinder how you actually think. Because here's the fact. Those of you who want to crush it in business, business is about people. It's not about making money. Okay, let that sink in for a second. The more you can understand people, the more you can actually understand how to make more money. Like, it goes hand in hand. People are people, and the whole world is made up of people. So like, if you ignore that social development, you won't have the skills. So there was even a guy I was doing a session with a couple months ago, and he was like, man, I'm struggling in sales, or I'm struggling right now. I don't know what to do. And I'm like, dude, when's the last time you went out? And I can tell he's just like hardened. He's like, well, I really don't ever. I'm like, there's your problem. Like, go do something. So that's number 4. Ignoring social development is one of the biggest mistakes in your 20s. And the 5th biggest mistake that you will make in your 20s, or that most people make, is not learning how to promote. Let this sink in. Why did I save this for last? Because this is so important. Me learning how to promote when I was in my 20s, it built the backbone of who I am today. Like, seriously. And it started literally with just like promoting house parties and promoting shop parties. This is like really the side of me that you guys have probably never seen. And it's also why I've done so great at like promoting Headman, or making like the movement of men and revitalizing masculinity, is because like learning how to promote, like, here's the stuff I would do when I was younger in my 20s. Okay, I'd organize a gathering. Like, I'd have a spot. I'd have either a house party or I'd have a shops. Okay, and I'd say, hey, we're all meet. This is what we're gonna do. This is the address, this is where it's at, bring this, wear this. If you don't wear this, you can't get in, right? Setting the frame, right? Understanding frame control, that kind of stuff. Okay, everyone's like, oh, okay. Then you reach out to 4 or 5 friends, and they're your promoters. So now you're up top of the hierarchy, you got 5 people below. They're responsible for distribution and outreach, okay? Distribution and outreach, they send to all their followers, they send to their list. Pretty soon you get all these people that are like, hey, Casey's party's here, are you going? Yes. And it's just bam, 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 bam. And not only did it like raise so much social status at the point, and it was so easy to like date and attract people because like you're the leader of the interaction, but like seriously, like that promotion, stuff like that translated so easy into when I built CZ Fitness. You know, right out of the gate, my first year I made like 65K, no overhead. The second year, like 85K. It just kept going from there. And then I transitioned into what I do today. But like, it was so funny because same thing. Hey, you know, join my Facebook group. I'm gonna help you out in fitness. Read this blog. Promote. You know, even when you're dating a girl, like you got to promote yourself. You got to promote like who you are and what you're about. And I think that that's just so crucial. And guys ignore these things. So the back of napkin stack of things to do, not to do, like. These are gonna be unconventional too. You're probably not gonna watch a whole lot of YouTube channels and find that out, you know, but I'm not saying that's for everybody, but those are the mistakes that I see people making in my personal beliefs. And those things on that napkin made me who I am today. If you like this video, hit the like button, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.